You are not here by accident. You were not born to blend in, to barely survive, or to live beneath your potential. Inside you is a calling, a fire, a purpose that refuses to die, even when life tries to bury it. And what T.D. Jakes teaches us is this: your destiny is bigger than your disappointment. Life will test you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will break you down. But every battle you face is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to develop you. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it as preparation. You must learn to stand when everything around you is shaking. You must keep moving when your feelings tell you to quit. You must believe when evidence says otherwise. Because growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from pressure. Growth is never comfortable, and it was never designed to be. If you are truly evolving, stretching, and stepping into something greater, there will be resistance. Pain is the evidence that something inside you is changing. Too many people pray for elevation, but reject the pressure that comes with it. They want the crown without the cross, the reward without the refining, the testimony without the trial. But a real growth always demands a cost. Pain exposes what comfort hides. When everything is easy, you don't question your strength, your discipline, or your faith. But when pressure arrives, it forces you to confront who you really are. It reveals your weaknesses, challenges your mindset, and demands that you either rise or retreat. That moment of discomfort is not meant to break you. It is meant to build you. What feels like suffering is often shaping endurance, wisdom, and resilience. You must understand that pain is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. In many cases, it is confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. The process of becoming requires shedding old versions of yourself, old habits, old thinking, old limitations, and letting go of what is familiar will always hurt. But what you lose in comfort, you gain in capacity. Avoiding pain will keep you stagnant. Running from discomfort delays maturity. Every level of growth demands a new level of endurance. The muscles don't grow without strain. The mind doesn't expand without challenge. The spirit doesn't strengthen without trials. Pain is the language growth speaks, and if you listen instead of resisting, it will teach you how to survive higher levels. When you begin to see pain as preparation rather than punishment, everything changes. You stop asking why it hurts and start asking what it's producing. You stop seeing hardship as an attack and start recognizing it as training. Growth requires pain, but pain also produces power, depth, and transformation. Your past has a voice, but it does not have the authority to rule your future unless you give it permission. Too many people are living today through the lens of yesterday, measuring their worth by old mistakes, old failures, old wounds, and old labels. What you've been through may have shaped your experiences, but it was never meant to shape your identity. You are more than the worst thing you've done and more than the worst thing that's happened to you. The danger of living in the past is not just regret, it's limitation. When you constantly rehearse what went wrong, you begin to believe that growth is impossible. You start making decisions based on fear instead of faith, memory instead of vision. The past becomes a ceiling rather than a lesson, but lessons are meant to be learned from, not lived in. You cannot move forward while dragging old shame, guilt, and self-doubt behind you. Every time you replay past failures, you reinforce a version of yourself that no longer exists. Growth requires release. Release from the need to explain yourself. Release from the need to relive old pain. Release from the one chapter defines the whole story. Your past may explain your past. Think why you think the way you do, but it does not get to decide who you become. What tried to break you also taught you how to survive. What wounded you also strengthened you. The same experiences that once limited you can now become the foundation for wisdom, discernment, and maturity if you stop allowing them to define you. Letting go of the past is not denial, it is alignment. It is choosing to live from who you are becoming instead of who you used to be. When you stop identifying with old versions of yourself, you create space for growth, confidence, and transformation. Trust is tested most when clarity is missing. It is easy to believe when the path is visible, when the outcome makes sense, and when the answers are clear. But real trust begins when logic runs out and faith is the only thing holding you together. There will be seasons where nothing aligns with your expectations, where prayers seem unanswered, and where the direction ahead feels uncertain. In those moments, trust is not a feeling, it is a decision. Understanding is not a requirement for obedience. You may not see how the pieces fit together, but that does not mean there is no purpose at work. God often reveals the next step, not the full staircase. If you wait to understand everything before you move, you will remain stuck where you are. Trust demands movement even when the destination is unclear. There will be times when what God allows does not match what you asked for. Disappointments will challenge your belief. Delays will test your patience. Silence will make you question whether you are still being guided. But trust is built in the silence. It is strengthened when you choose faith over frustration and obedience over fear. When you don't understand, your mind searches for control. But trust requires surrender, surrendering your timeline, your expectations, and your need for explanations. It means believing that even the detours have direction and even the setbacks have significance. What looks like confusion to you may be alignment in progress. Trusting God in uncertainty reshapes your character. It teaches humility, dependence, and perseverance. It forces you to rely on something greater than your own reasoning. And as you continue to move forward without full understanding, your faith deepens, your resilience grows, and your confidence becomes rooted in something unshakable. Waiting to be completely healed before moving forward can keep you trapped longer than the pain itself. Many people believe they must feel strong, confident, and whole before they take the next step. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes progress happens in the middle of the pain, not after it. Growth does not require the absence of hurt. It requires the courage to keep going despite it. Pain has a way of convincing you to stop, to slow down, to retreat into isolation. It whispers that you are not ready, not capable, not strong enough yet. But movement is often the very thing that brings healing. Every step forward proves to you that pain does not have authority over your future. You may be hurting, but you are not helpless. Moving forward while hurting teaches resilience. It builds inner strength because you learn how to function without everything being perfect. You learn that tears do not disqualify you, weakness does not cancel your calling, and broken moments do not erase purpose. Progress is not always loud or confident. Sometimes it is quiet, shaky, and uncertain, but it still counts. There will be days when the pain resurfaces, when memories return, when emotions feel overwhelming. Those moments are not signs that you are failing. They are reminders that healing is not linear. You don't move forward because the pain is gone. You move forward because your life is bigger than the pain. By choosing to move while hurting, you reclaim control over your direction. You refuse to let wounds dictate your destiny. Each step forward becomes evidence that you are stronger than what tried to stop you, and that growth can coexist with pain. Every vision begins fragile. Before it becomes visible to the world, it exists quietly in your mind and spirit. At that stage, it is highly vulnerable. Negative voices, whether they come from others or from within, have the power to weaken your belief before the vision ever has a chance to grow. That is why protecting your vision is not optional, it is essential. Not everyone has the capacity to understand what you see. Some people speak from fear, not wisdom. Others speak from their own limitations, not your potential. When they say it's impossible, unrealistic, or too risky, they are often projecting what they would never attempt themselves. Listening to the wrong voices can slowly poison your confidence and make you question what you once felt certain about. Negative voices aren't always loud or aggressive. Sometimes they come disguised as concern, realism, or advice. They may sound supportive, but they plant doubt. If you are not careful, you will start shrinking your dreams to fit other people's comfort levels. Protecting your vision means learning when to listen and when to stay silent about what you are building. Your environment plays a powerful role in your growth. Constant exposure to negativity drains energy, focus, and faith. You must be intentional about who you allow access to your thoughts, your plans, and your goals. Surrounding yourself with belief does not mean avoiding truth. It means choosing voices that challenge you without discouraging you. When you protect your vision, you give it space to mature, confidence grows stronger, clarity becomes sharper, and purpose feels more real. A guarded vision has the power to survive doubt, delay, and opposition, and it remains strong enough to become reality. Letting go is one of the most difficult disciplines in life because it forces you to release what feels familiar, comfortable, or emotionally safe. Many people hold on not because something is good for them, but because it is known. They stay connected to relationships, habits, routines, and environments that no longer serve their growth simply because walking away feels painful. But holding on to what has expired can slowly suffocate what is trying to emerge. Everything in life has a season. What once supported you may now be limiting you. What once made sense may now be holding you back. Growth often demands separation, not because what you are releasing was bad, but because it no longer fits who you are becoming. Letting go is an act of alignment, not abandonment. There is a cost to refusing to release. You begin carrying unnecessary weight, emotional baggage, resentment, fear, and exhaustion. That weight drains your energy and clouds your judgment. You cannot move freely into the future while dragging pieces of the past behind you. Letting go creates space for clarity, peace, and new opportunities to enter your life. Letting go does not mean erasing memories or denying emotions. It means accepting that some chapters have ended and no longer require your attention. It means choosing growth over attachment and purpose over comfort. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from what is familiar so you can step into what is necessary. When you learn to let go, you regain control over your direction. You stop living in reaction and start living with intention. Releasing what no longer belongs allows you to move forward lighter, clearer, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Motivation is powerful, but it is unreliable. It comes and goes with your emotions, your energy, and your circumstances. There will be days when you feel inspired and unstoppable, and there will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, and unmotivated. If your progress depends only on how you feel, your growth will always be inconsistent. Discipline is what carries you forward when motivation disappears. Discipline is the decision to show up even when you don't feel like it. It is choosing commitment over comfort and consistency over convenience. While motivation asks, do I feel like doing this today? Discipline asks, what needs to be done regardless of how I feel? That mindset shift is what separates wishful thinkers from disciplined achievers. Every meaningful transformation is built on small, repeated actions. Discipline turns ordinary habits into extraordinary results. It trains your mind to follow structure instead of impulse and teaches you how to manage your time, energy, and focus with intention. Over time, discipline creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Without discipline, talent is wasted and potential remains dormant. You can have vision, passion, and ability, but without consistent action, none of it materializes. Discipline bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It creates stability in seasons of chaos, in moments of uncertainty. When discipline becomes part of your identity, progress no longer feels dependent on circumstances. You move forward whether conditions are ideal or difficult. That steady commitment compounds over time, shaping character, sharpening focus, and building a foundation strong enough to sustain long-term growth. Asking, why me? Is a natural response to pain, disappointment, and unexpected hardship. It comes from confusion, frustration, and the desire for fairness. But staying in that question for too long can trap you in victimhood. It keeps your focus on the problem instead of the possibility. Well, why me? looks backward. What now looks forward, and forward is where growth happens. Life does not always give explanations. Some situations will never come with clear reasons or satisfying answers. When you fixate on why something happened, you drain energy that could be used to respond, adapt, and rebuild. The question, what now, shifts your mindset from helplessness to responsibility.
Yeah.
It reminds you that even if you didn't choose the situation, you can choose your response. Asking what now forces you into action. It asks what lesson can be learned, what strength must be developed, and what next step needs to be taken. It turns pain into purpose and setbacks into strategy. Instead of being paralyzed by circumstances, you begin to take ownership of your direction. This shift in questioning changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone things happen to and start seeing yourself as someone who moves through challenges with intention. What now builds resilience because it trains you to adapt rather than collapse when life doesn't go as planned. When your focus moves from blame to growth, clarity begins to emerge. You may not control the storm, but you can control how you navigate it. That single shift in perspective transforms hardship into momentum and uncertainty into opportunity. As starting over can feel like failure, especially when you've invested time, energy, and emotion into something that didn't work out. Pride tells you that beginning again means you lost, that it proves you weren't good enough or strong enough to finish what you started. But in reality, starting over often requires more courage than staying stuck. It means you are choosing growth over ego. Life does not always move in straight lines. Sometimes the path you chose was right for a season, but wrong for your future. Other times, circumstances change, doors close, or foundations collapse. When that happens, starting over is not erasing progress. It is applying everything you've learned to a new beginning. Experience becomes your advantage, not your embarrassment. Many people stay in unhealthy situations because they fear the discomfort of rebuilding. They cling to what is familiar even when it no longer serves them, because uncertainty feels worse than dissatisfaction. But starting over creates space for clarity. It allows you to rebuild with wisdom, intention, and stronger boundaries than before. Starting over humbles you. It teaches patience and resilience. It forces you to reevaluate your priorities, refine your vision, and strengthen your discipline. You learn what matters and what doesn't. You learn how to rebuild without repeating the same mistakes. When you become willing to start over, you free yourself from the pressure of perfection. You accept that progress includes restarts, adjustments, and redirection. Each new beginning becomes an opportunity to move forward with greater strength and deeper understanding. Pressure is often seen as a burden, something to avoid, something that makes life harder. But in truth, pressure is the catalyst for greatness. Diamonds do not form without intense heat and crushing force, and humans do not reach their highest potential without facing pressure. Every challenge, every difficulty, every moment that tests you is shaping strength that cannot be developed in comfort. Pressure exposes your true capacity. When life pushes you to your limits, it reveals hidden reserves of courage, creativity, and resilience. It forces you to innovate, adapt, and make decisions you would never have considered in easier times. Without pressure, many talents remain dormant and many dreams remain unrealized. Pressure uncovers what lies beneath the surface. Pressure also builds endurance. It teaches you to persevere when the outcome is uncertain and the path is steep. It forces you to focus, to prioritize, and to let go of what does not matter. Those who learn to endure pressure emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the responsibilities and opportunities that await them. While pressure is uncomfortable, it is also purposeful. Every trial has a reason, every difficulty has a lesson, and every moment of stress is molding you for the next level. The very situations that feel like obstacles are often the instruments that produce power, character, and influence. Those who embrace pressure rather than resist it discover a strength within themselves that they never knew existed. In a world obsessed with instant results, we often forget that that true growth, transformation, and success take time. Impatience is one of the greatest enemies of progress. When you rush the process, you miss the lessons embedded in the journey, and you risk building your future on shaky foundations. Everything worth achieving requires patience, persistence, and trust in the timing of your life. The process is where preparation occurs, skills are honed, character is shaped, and resilience is built. Seasons of waiting are not empty, they are full of invisible work that strengthens you for the next chapter. Rushing often leads to shortcuts, poor decisions, and unnecessary setbacks because you skip the essential steps that ensure long-term success. Learning to embrace the timing of your life also cultivates humility. You realize that you are not in control of every outcome and that some things unfold only when the conditions are right. This mindset reduces frustration and anxiety because you stop forcing outcomes and start focusing on growth. Trusting the process teaches patience, endurance, and faith in what is unseen. Every delay, every pause, and every period of uncertainty is an opportunity to grow quietly, strengthen your foundation, and refine your vision. The process is a teacher disguised as waiting. Those who respect it learn lessons that cannot be acquired in haste. They develop depth, perspective, and wisdom that prepare them for greater responsibility and opportunity. Rushing the process is a temptation, but resisting it is a discipline. Progress may feel slow at times, but steady, patient, and intentional action always produces results that endure. True success is rarely immediate. It is earned through consistency, perseverance, and a willingness to allow growth to unfold in its own time. As we come to the close of this message, remember this life is not about perfection, it's about progression. You will face challenges, setbacks, and moments that make you question everything, but every trial, every pressure, every pause has a purpose. What T.D. Jakes teaches us through these rules is simple yet profound. Your destiny is shaped not by comfort, but by courage, not by ease, but by endurance, not by circumstances, but by faith and consistency. You have the power to rise above your past, to move forward even in pain, to trust when you do not understand, and to protect the vision God has placed inside you. You have the ability to let go of what no longer serves you, to remain disciplined when motivation fades, and to start over when life calls you to begin again. Pressure does not defeat you, it produces the power that elevates you. So, stand up, step into the next chapter of your life with confidence. Honor the process, embrace the journey, and then never allow fear, doubt, or delay to steal your purpose. The rules are not just words, they are a blueprint for transformation. Follow them, live them, and watch how your life unfolds into something extraordinary.